رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي. Assalamu alaikum. So, amongst the objections that people have on Islam, I think this is one of the major misconceptions you can say, or one of the bigger misconceptions you can say, is that they bring out narrations from Islam about uh, so-called uh, supernatural narrations that mention events which we cannot comprehend or understand. So, on that topic, I've tried to solve this issue uh, by writing an article which I'm going to read out to you, and I hope that will help a lot of the people out there, especially the atheists and the agnostics, uh, to solve a lot of the problems they have regarding such Islamic narrations. So, the article goes as follows. Rejecting what one doesn't know or can't comprehend is different from rejecting something you do know about. Makes sense. Rejecting what you don't know can come about from arrogance or denial to change your point of view, being lazy to think about something, or there could be other reasons. But definitely no one is confident enough when rejecting something they are unaware about. However, when you are 100% knowledgeable about something, you reject it with reason and purpose. You are confident because you know the truth. People in the past would have laughed at you if you told them that they could talk to people across the oceans or could see a live picture of them. Or if you told them that they could fly across the world, that is because they couldn't comprehend the modern ideas of technological advancements. Similarly, it is impossible to explain the ideas of post puberty to small children. But that doesn't mean the reality is exactly what you think it is. The reality is something different than the bounds of your comprehension. We can't explain the exact definitions of love, passion, excitement, or how they work, but we know that they exist. We can't explain so many things around us, but we know that they are there. We don't know what dark matter actually is. We don't know what consciousness exactly is. We don't know what the nature of time exactly is, yet we believe in their existence. Just like the people in the past couldn't imagine our technology, what if someone from the future told us about weird phenomena? We would find it impossible to believe them. Similarly, when Islam tells us about things like the eternity in paradise, hell, angels, jinns, and other weird, quote unquote, weird concepts, instead of rejecting them, what we can say is that science or our understanding has reached so far as to discover or explain them. An example would be if you told someone in the past that you could look into the belly of a pregnant woman or inside a human body without cutting up the body. They would think that you're a magician. But today, ordinary people look inside the body using MRI scans, CT scans, ultrasounds, etc. The reality is, we are living in a world of miracles, some of which we have become accustomed to. So, the turning of seeds into plants and fruits, the developing of the fetus, the growing of human beings, the hatching of a bird from an egg, the movement of the stars, and all physical phenomena are indeed miracles, but we are so used to them. But if we saw something else, why should we simply reject it? Only because we don't know its reality or because we're not used to it? That's a good point, isn't it? So, just because, just imagine when we were infants or small children, didn't every new thing excite us? It was just like a miracle happening in front of our eyes, right? Seeing everything for the first time. So, similarly, uh, we have the same reaction when we see something new, right? But uh, I don't know why then we don't realize that. I bring this topic up especially for those people who tend to object on the weird, quote unquote, weird narrations in Islam and try to prove Islam as an objectionable religion. To handle their objections, I will bring and discuss a single narration, from Sahih al Bukhari, narration number 3199, and use it to explain all such supernatural narrations in Islam. The time the narration goes, narrated Abu Dhar. The Prophet ﷺ asked me at sunset, "Do you know where the sun goes at the time of sunset?" I replied, "Allah and His Apostle know better." He said, "It goes, that is, travels, till it prostrates itself underneath the throne and takes the permission to rise again. And it is permitted. And then A time will come when it will be about to prostrate itself, but its prostration will not be accepted. And it will ask permission to go on its course, but it will not be permitted, but it will be ordered to turn whence it has come, and so it will rise in the west. And that is the interpretation of the statement of Allah. And the sun runs its fixed course for a term decreed. That is the decree of Allah, the Exalted in might, the All-Knowing. Now uh, that's the that's where I'll stop reading the narration, and now I'll continue the article. So, firstly, the doubter might say that the earth moves and the sun is stationary, but the hadith says that the sun moves. Secondly, the doubter might say that this hadith gives a picture that the earth is bigger than the sun, the earth is flat, and that the sun goes around the sun goes around the earth, prostrates before the throne, and then returns back, and the stars are negligible small masses of no significant weight. Now, the doubter here has not understood the hadith. Let's see what the doubter does not understand. The doubter here has not understood the hadith, doesn't understand language, and doesn't even understand simple logic and science. Firstly, when you say that the earth moves around a stationary sun, whoever says that the sun is stationary, the sun itself is moving. In fact, everything in the universe is always moving. Nothing is stationary, and there are multiple motions for each body in the universe. Secondly, when one says that something is stationary or moving, we know that this means that it is moving or stationary relative to something. On a moving train, we're stationary relative to the train. The train only moves relative to someone standing outside. Therefore, for an observer on Earth, the sun is actually moving and the Earth is stationary. Relative motion. From a language point of view, our spoken terms and ideologies do not have to meet the scientific, quote unquote, scientific accuracies of the laboratory. It is understood that when I say that the sun has risen, I mean it linguistically. Scientifically, the earth has rotated. When I say, so scientifically, the earth has rotated, right? And similarly, when I say that my son is a lion, I only mean to say he is brave and not a lion biologically. One must differentiate between language and scientific accuracies, right? Also, scientific information is constantly changing, whereas Islamic teachings are fixed. What is correct in science today could be wrong tomorrow, but Islam gives us the ultimately correct answers. Also, claiming that the sun doesn't prostrate or go below the throne is scientifically wrong. Also, claiming that the sun doesn't prostrate or go below the throne is scientifically wrong. Claiming this is another mistake. Has science discovered the throne of Allah? That's a question. Has science discovered the throne of Allah? Has science discovered the prostrating of the sun? Has it? Have we looked into dimensions greater than our three dimensions? Have we? Then why does one comment on something he doesn't have knowledge of? Why do we think that the throne is something material and limited by space and time? This is only our imagination. Imagine people talking about flying planes and mobile phones thousand years ago. Would it make any sense? No. Thus, why do we comment on something we have no knowledge or understanding about? The unseen, the religion of Islam is from Allah, the one who knows everything. Just because He is opening up a part of the unseen to us doesn't mean we will understand everything. What is important is that we realize that the what is important is that we realize that the gigantic sun prostrates before Allah, and we, the humans, transgress and disobey Him. If the sun has no other option but to obey Allah, how could we ever escape Allah's punishment if we disobey Him? This point is very important and is applicable to many of the supernatural narrations we read in Islam. We haven't seen the heaven, hell, angels, and we can't explain the supernatural narrations about the prophets sallallahu alaihi wasallam night journey. But that doesn't mean the limit of our knowledge and understanding is the limit of the reality. Science hasn't discovered time portals either, and it is easy for us to dismiss things that we don't understand and reject them. And now, time for the cherry on top. The Quran already mentioned the reality of this attitude of rejecting what one can't comprehend or know 14 years ago. In Surah Yunus, verse 39, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, rather, I'll read the translation, rather, they have denied that which they encompass not in knowledge, and whose interpretation has not yet come to them. Thus did those before them deny. Then observe how was the end of the wrongdoers. End of translation. Wow. The Quran had already addressed this attitude of the people. Some people reject simply out of ignorance and not with any proof. Truly, the Quran is truthful when it says in Surah Anbiya, verse 18, we have certainly sent down to you a book, that is the Quran, in which is your mention. Then will you not reason? The book mentioning us, our history, our attitudes, our surroundings. How can then this be magic? It's the word of Allah. It mentions things we understand. In other words, man thinks that the entire world is only what he knows or experiences. This means that there are a billion different worlds, one for each person, that is, and that there is nothing beyond it. But in reality, this is only the limit of our perception, understanding, and knowledge. In addition to all this, everything has rules that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put for it. How do you know what rules Allah has placed for the prostration of the sun? At least it prostrates before its Lord. Man refuses to prostrate. At least many do. An atheist goes to these narrations where humans cannot perceive or understand. But have you ever seen an atheist talk about the benefits of the prohibition of alcohol and adultery? Listen to this paragraph carefully. Has an atheist ever talked about the benefits of praying on the physical, mental, and emotional well being? Has he ever talked about the purity and hygienic benefits of making ablution and the benefits on the human body from fasting? Why not talk about these aspects of Islam that science has already discovered? It is because they simply prove Islam to be correct. Is it because these? Uh, is it because they simply prove Islam to be correct? Doesn't this show a bias? Has any atheist ever talked about the negative impacts of gambling on the human mind and how it affects the brain just as drugs do? When Islam had already banned gambling 1400 years ago. And it's noteworthy that what really matters for a human being are these practical actions of praying, purification, fasting, etc., and not the supernatural narrations that one could even live without. In the end, what should our attitude be? The reality is that we are only responsible for what we know and can bear, as the Quran says in verse 286 of Surah Baqarah, that Allah does not require of any soul more than what it can afford. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Thus, we must use our current knowledge and understanding to study the linguistic. Here's the point to notice. We must use our current knowledge and understanding to study the linguistic, scientific, numerical, historical, and other miracles in the Quran. When we see that such things are humanly impossible, it then automatically helps us reach the conclusion that whatever is said in this book is from a divine source. So, I hope it clarified the issue of such narrations. In the end, I'm just going to give you, like, I think, two links. In the end, I've stated that just to get the reader started off, I suggest you see the numerical miracle in the Quran of the word Nuh, and I'll try to attach that miracle in the description of this video as well. Also, I would strongly suggest uh, you to take a look at an Arabic video, which actually probably inspired me to make this video, and I'll attach the link to that video in the description as well. It is a video in Arabic, but if you can get it translated, I would suggest you do. Otherwise, I hope I've done a good job transmitting the message of that video into this video. But that Arabic video is amazing, talking about this topic as well. So, with that, I hope it um, clarifies for a lot of atheists, agnostics, those people looking for truth, searching for the truth, genuinely searching for the truth, that uh, we're limited. We're not. We don't have knowledge of everything. And if you have any confusions or any questions, you can leave them in the comment as well. May Allah guide us all, and may Allah open our hearts to guidance as well. And I'll hopefully also attach my Facebook link in the description. So if any atheists or Muslims who are having doubts can contact me on Facebook as well, or to ask any questions if they have as well. With that, we'll end the session. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.